果不拆，我可能是即使在这里住下去，要不怎么样呢？我要去哪里住呢？这是我的房子啊，这是我地啊。
She is the greediest holdout in Guangdong. With a house of only 30 square meters, the government decided to give her 2 million yuan, but she didn't even look at it, and turned around to make an exorbitant demand. Without 15 million yuan, don't even think about making me move out. She stalemated with the government for a full 12 years, and in the end, with no other way, the government was forced to split the bridge in two, going around this house. She is the famous Eye of Zhuhai. So how is Ms. Liang doing now? Did she get the compensation she wanted? In 2010, with the 11th Asian Games in Guangzhou about to open, the government decided to demolish old houses along the coast of Zhuhai to beautify the city. At the same time, to speed up the project, the government offered very generous terms. Each household would be given an 80 square meter apartment in exchange, plus an additional subsidy of 8,000 yuan per square meter. As soon as this news came out, nearby residents were overjoyed. To move from dilapidated old houses into newly renovated apartments, and also receive a demolition payment, this was a windfall from the sky. Even before the official documents were issued, the people began to hold banquets, singing and dancing to welcome a new life. In the end, it took less than a month for dozens of households in the surrounding area to complete relocation smoothly. The pace was truly astonishing. Just at this time, something unexpected happened. Ms. Liang's family strongly opposed the demolition compensation, and in the entire area, only their family had not moved out. This left people puzzled. Others wished for such a good thing but couldn't get it, so why was her family throwing a tantrum? The reason was that Ms. Liang's house was relatively small, only 30 square meters, and compared with nearby residents, the demolition payment she would receive was pitifully small, which made them feel unbalanced. So government staff began visiting to negotiate, but they were rejected again and again by Ms. Liang's various excuses. In the end, she also said she cared about feng shui and wanted to first see what the replacement apartment looked like. Hearing this, the staff thought Ms. Liang was finally softening, and hurriedly began taking Ms. Liang to see apartments. The first was a sea view apartment along the Zhuhai coastline, facing the sea with magnificent scenery, but it was rejected by Ms. Liang. She said this kind of three-bay octagonal layout would affect the family's fortune. Even if they gave it to me for free, I wouldn't live in it. Seeing Ms. Liang reject it, the staff then took her to see a second apartment. This one was in a bustling city center, with convenient transportation, a proper layout, and an elevator. This time Ms. Liang would surely be satisfied. But unexpectedly, she rejected it again. She said this apartment was even worse. A hospital was right across the street, with patients of all kinds living there every day. It was really inauspicious. Fortunately, the staff were patient enough, accompanying Ms. Liang to view apartments one after another, but Ms. Liang could always find unexpected excuses. No elevator, bad feng shui, floor too high. In short, there was not a single one she could accept. As the construction deadline approached and Ms. Liang still refused to sign, for the greater good the government decided to make another concession. They would convert the resettlement apartment into a cash compensation for Ms. Liang. Ms. Liang's house, excluding the illegal addition, was only 30 square meters. After converting the resettlement, the government decided to compensate Ms. Liang with 2 million yuan in cash. You should know that in those years one could completely exchange that in the city center for a 100 square meter apartment. Not everyone could encounter such a deal. But who is Ms. Liang? 2 million yuan was far from her expectations. She somehow heard news that her house was at the core of the entire project. If she didn't move, the project simply could not proceed. So she directly asked for 8 million yuan. Hearing such a sky-high compensation demand, the staff refused outright. How was this negotiation? This was clearly asking an exorbitant price. Over Ms. Liang's matter, the government racked its brains, mediating again and again, but Ms. Liang seemed to have eaten a weight stone. Less than 8 million yuan, nothing to talk about. As the start date drew nearer day by day, and pressure from higher-ups made it hard for the staff to breathe, they finally decided to go around Ms. Liang's house and demolish other places first. In this way, before the Asian Games arrived, the other places were all renovated except for Ms. Liang's family. Afraid that Ms. Liang's shabby little house would be too eye-catching, the government specially used walls to shield her house. The whole scene was extraordinarily comical. Yet, even living under such oppressive surroundings did not change Ms. Liang's greedy heart. In 2016, demolition came again, and the Guangzhou government began planning to build the Zhuhai-Yong Bridge to improve economic efficiency. Unexpectedly, Ms. Liang's house once again entered the planning range. This time the government did not hesitate and directly offered a sky-high 8 million yuan to have Ms. Liang agree to the demolition. However, faced with 8 million yuan in compensation, Ms. Liang still chose to refuse. She said that 6 years had passed by now, and her housing price had risen accordingly. 8 million yuan definitely wouldn't work. If she was to move out, an extra 7 million yuan was needed. Give me 15 million yuan, and I will move immediately. As soon as these words were spoken, the staff were so angry they laughed. A house of only 30 square meters wouldn't reach 15 million yuan even in Beijing, right? This was really taking the government for a fool. Faced with Ms. Liang's lion's mouth, the government chose not to back down this time, and directly modified the bridge's design drawings, perfectly going around Ms. Liang's house, and even deliberately kept water and electricity for Ms. Liang's house. Since you like your house so much, then simply don't demolish it. Keep it for yourself as a treasure. In August 2020, the Zhuhai-Yong Bridge officially opened to traffic, and Ms. Liang's house was sandwiched in the middle, the bridge and the house forming the shape of an eye, so people jokingly called it the Eye of Zhuhai. With such a sight appearing on the bridge, people came from time to check in and take photos, and it once even became an internet-famous spot. This made Ms. Liang extremely distressed. But what pained Ms. Liang the most was that, ever since the bridge opened, vehicles passed day and night, and the horns and exhaust made it impossible for Ms. Liang's family to sleep well. Now Ms. Liang has realized her problem and has taken the initiative to find the government to negotiate, but the bridge has already been built, and it is impossible to carry out a second demolition. Moreover, even if it were demolished, it would have no meaning. If Ms. Liang had known when to stop back then, she wouldn't have put herself in such a predicament. Tossing for 12 years for nothing, not getting the money and suffering so much, this is truly trying to steal a chicken only to lose the rice.
The most ironic part of this story is this. Ms. Liang actually wasn't out of chances. She clearly could have used a decent compensation to trade for a more stable and comfortable life. But she kept believing she could get a little more. People are like this. What truly ruins us isn't poverty, nor luck, but that never-satisfied greed. You think you're fighting for your rights, but a single wrong step is pushing yourself into an abyss. What could have been solved with 2 million yuan turned into 8 million, and then into a joke she herself couldn't bear. In the end, she found that what she kept wasn't value. It was noise, exhaust fumes, and the 12 years of time she could never claw back. So, take what should be taken, let go of what should be let go. The more you try to grab, the faster you lose. What do you in front of the screen think of Ms. Liang's ending? Welcome to leave a comment in the comment section. Let's discuss it together. See you in the next episode.